July 11th, 2023 meeting of the Culver Town Council. This meeting is being recorded on the town's YouTube channel. Participation in this meeting is your consent to be recorded and rebroadcasted. At this time, please mute or turn off any electronic devices. Thank you. Roll call, please.
William Clevenger,
Present.
Bill Giffens,
Here.
Bill Ham,
Here.
Sally Ricciardi,
Here.
Rich West.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The clerk has asked that because we only have a draft for the regular minutes of the meeting of June 27, 2023, we wait for approval until the next meeting. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the June financial report. Everyone had a chance to look at the financial report. Anybody have any additions or corrections?
No. Financial report.
Mr. West makes a motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Thank you. Mr. Teall,
Evening.
you want to stand up and identify yourself, please?
You want to come up front here or?
That'd be fine.
My name is Brian Teall with the Marshall County United Way, and I've been able to talk to most of you on the phone. I think Mr. Ham was the only one I couldn't get a hold of ahead of time, so that way I could at least give you guys a heads up what I was coming tonight for. Linda Yoder, our executive director, is here as well. She has a handout. This is, I'm going to go ahead and read our official ask letter for you guys while I'm here, and then there's some data that Linda's going to share with you what's going on currently and why I'm here. I'm here. So.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Clevenger, this might be the third time you're hearing this.
No. Okay.
All right. Dear Culver Town Council members, United Way of Marshall County is a proven locally based organization that is always up to the challenge of handling the immediate and long-term needs for Marshall County communities. United Way's annual campaign helps fund vital locally based programs and organizations. Our community partners provide basic essential needs, including food, housing, and utility, and transportation assistance, in addition to education and health services. These organizations serve Marshall County residents every day, often behind the scenes, working with our most vulnerable populations. Public health emergencies declared during the pandemic have ended. However, the effect on our communities continues. While our conditions have improved for some households, many continue to struggle, especially as wages fail to keep pace with the rising cost of household essentials, housing, childcare, food, transportation, and healthcare. Local food pantries report a 40% increase in needs from last year, an alarming trend that is echoing across the state. Even more disturbing is the high percentage of our youngest and oldest residents in need of help. In Marshall County, 77% of our single-parent households struggle to make ends meet. In addition, 61% of those under 25 years old and 53% of senior citizens are in households. Rising food prices, a decrease in discounts from local grocery stores, and limited access to staples add to the challenges. The pandemic continues to impact the local economy too. Business closing, supply chain disruptions, rising material costs, and employee turnover and shortages are among the challenges straining our local businesses and industry. These challenges are reflected in the United Way campaign as well, with workplace campaign results at 39% of pre-pandemic levels. We're asking for help to shore the needs of our local families and ease the burden we ask of our area's industry and businesses. We're requesting a $15,000 in assistance from Culver Town Council to meet essential needs. Your support will help United Way of Marshall County claim a 1-to-1 match from Indiana United Ways. Thank you for your consideration and your belief in the power of our community to respond and recover from today's challenges. And if past crises have taught us anything, it is we're stronger together. Sincerely, Brian Teall, Development Manager, United Way. So as my letter stated, we've, last year with the campaign, we've had a little shortcoming. And you know, with the rising needs, we're definitely going to need some assistance this year going into the year. We've had a big increase with food request assistance, and I think Wendy can kind of chime in here with some of the things we've been seeing during the last actually couple of weeks even, so.
Sure. So, if we go back to when the pandemic started in March of 2020, we didn't know what to expect, right? We knew that it was going to be a big event. We knew it was going to be the kind of thing that not any one organization could handle. And we also knew that it was going to take every resource and even none that wouldn't meet all of the needs. And so as we went along, we set up a grants committee. We actually did with the Crossroads campaign, we did a Fund the Essentials campaign that launched in May of 2020, and that was at the height of the uncertainty. And we were able, with their help, to raise about $550,000, and that's really what's helped see us through, in addition to grant funding that we're able to access through Indiana United Way and Lilly Endowment and so on. And in addition to that, we also, every grant opportunity we saw, whether it was for youth serving organizations or food assistance programs, if we weren't eligible and couldn't apply for it, we made sure that those that were eligible had access to it. So that's what's helped us get through this. But we also, like I said, knew it would have long-term effects. We just didn't know what that would look like. And we set up a grants committee at that time. It was made up of Crossroads members, United Way board members, reps from Community Foundation, and we have liaisons within each community too, so they could keep their ear to the ground, even though we were isolated, keep their ear to the ground, understand where the needs were, and we could pivot quickly. So that first year, we met on a weekly basis to review applications, and they didn't have to apply every week, but we told them, we're here when you need us, apply, and we'll see what we can do to help. That following year, in 2021, we went to a monthly basis. And now this year, we're going to a quarterly basis. Things have changed, but the part that we didn't expect was the increase in the needs right now. We didn't anticipate inflation and what that would do to local families. We know that a lot of the grants that we were getting, those are waning. A lot of the subsidies that families were getting to help get them through, those are dropping off as well. And so what we're seeing, as Brian said, is food pantries that are reporting needs that are from 40 to 45% higher than last year. One of our local food pantries, Neighborhood Center, they just reported that they've spent 77% of their food budget already, and that was at the end of June. And the same is happening with utility, housing assistance, utility and rent. So we're at this point again where, like Brian said, it's impacted the businesses that are usual supporters as well. They've been so busy just trying to keep their doors open, if they're still around, that it's hard for them to take time to have us come in and talk to their employees and for us to get their attention. And we know all of that will change. We've changed some of our approaches as well. Brian, we hired him to come on and help us find some new revenue sources. We're doing a blueberry 50-50 raffle, blueberry festival. And so hopefully those kinds of things will help change the story and bring in some additional revenue, but we're not there yet. And the needs are here now. So as Brian said, we have the opportunity to get some match funding from Indiana United Way. It has to be from multiple sources. It can't be all from one source. And so that's why we're talking to you folks tonight to see if there's anything you can do to help us through this little rough patch.
Pardon me, would you mind identifying yourself for the record?
I'm Linda Yoder, Director of the United Way and the Community Foundation.
Thank you.
So that's why we're here.
And just a Culver representative, we have Tracy Fox on that grants committee. And what we would propose is they will continue to meet. In fact, we have a meeting this week. They'll continue to meet on a quarterly basis to address the applications as they come in.
What is your time frame on receiving these funds?
Well, we talked about that a little bit. We think there's a good chance that we'll get some funding from the Marshall County Commissioners and Council. They've been very supportive. Plymouth approved some funding, and that'll help us get through some immediate needs. If we knew that it was coming up within, next 4 to 6 months even, we could work with that. We can still claim the match, but we can spend those other dollars first. And then just plan accordingly. It'll give our grants committee information that they need to make, informed decisions.
Okay, because my question is, everybody's going into budget season.
Sure.
And I even told Brian that when he called.
Yes, he did.
And I said, I'm not, committed to do anything tonight.
Yeah.
But to put it in the budget and see how it shakes out, whether we do something with United Way or whether we even take that money and do it here locally through our own food bank or through something else that would support just the Culver people, as opposed to giving it to the county and letting them dole it out as they see fit.
Well, I tell you, the one thing that we really like about the committee is like things change for the food pantries too. We were just talking to them about it this week. And, somebody suggested, why don't we just give all this money to the food bank and they can, distribute it to all of our programs. Well, since we've distributed about $768,000, over the last couple of years, and 21 of the organizations out of the 40 organizations we supported, 21 are food programs, but it includes Blessings in a Backpack, and it includes Cultivate, and it includes food pantries and churches and neighborhood center and so on. And but what is still a little unstable for them is access to food. So sometimes they're still taking donations. They're not as plentiful as they were before the pandemic. They're able to get things from Walmart and from Kroger and Martin's and so on. But if you talk to some of the food pantries, they're using as many as 8 to 10 sources for food, right? And so things change for them as well. Sometimes, the prices, the discounts aren't there like they used to be. The free stuff that they are getting sometimes isn't the most nutritional food. So they're having to buy the higher priced items like milk and fruit and vegetables and things like that. So what I could tell you is we're able to be flexible. If they have a successful fundraiser, for instance, and they're okay for now, maybe somebody else is feeling the shortage more so in that time period. And that's one benefit we see.
Yeah, and I agree with Bill in terms of the budgeting.
Yeah.
Timeline on this, and the disadvantage I see of just giving it like to our local food pantry is we miss out on the 1-to-1 match. So our $15,000 is 15, not 30.
And I'm sure we can also look up to see what Culver's actually directly received over the last few years through those processes. Not only that, but you got to remember, just because there might be here, they're also probably accessing services countywide, through
Right.
utility assistance programs and other things. So I understand what you're getting at, but
Yeah, the mobile food distributions, we really didn't talk about that. We haven't been able to do those for a little bit now. Those are rather expensive, but they're also filling a gap that for families, we're still getting reports from pantries that they're getting new people in all the time, but these are folks that have never had to use their services before. And a lot of times, even stepping in the door of a food pantry is hard if you haven't had to ask for assistance before. But the mobile food distribution, what we found with that is that they're maybe a little more approachable. They feel that that's a little more anonymous and they're able to do that and not feel like they're being stigmatized. So we want to get back to being able to do a few of those, especially while we see the needs are high and we're looking at lines of food pantries and so on, because that does help fill a gap that, is again, kind of important in these unusual times.
Sally? Your thoughts, please.
Well, I know that there's a need there, and the one-on-one match definitely would be, go farther than just the gift itself. I guess my question is on that one on the match, how long is that in effect for?
We need to have all that lined up by November. But if we know there's a match coming in, a pledge, that works. It doesn't have to be cash in hand. It can be a pledge.
Yeah.
and just so it's
Yeah.
it is capped. So it's 75,000
It
is
is
capped. But again, like she said, we have to have multiple sources of funding this in order to claim that up to 75,000. So I just want to be upfront, that it's not a true one-to-one like that, so.
But that gets us through the budget process, because by
Yeah.
that point in time, we would know and you would know.
I think another crazy little statistic here is we had St. Thomas Episcopal Church. They're actually going to be applying to a grant for us for the first time. They have a non-food pantry. So items like cleaning products, diapers, things like that. Last year they had budget, I think it was 11,000 is what Reverend Holtz told us. And they said this year they budgeted for, I think it was 15. And now they're already over budget and they're going to be applying for additional like $3,000 or $4,000 grant from us, because they're already that much further into their budget. And then she said this was the first time they've actually had people this year trying, because they do like kind of a client-based system where they get to come in once a month. She said this is the first time they've actually had people trying to access it again. In the same,
Some personal hygiene items.
Yeah.
Cleaning
Yeah.
and
supplies.
that just shows you like people are starting to get to the point where there's a little desperation setting in.
Right.
Bill, what's your thoughts?
Well, I don't think we can make a decision until we get into the budget and we can prioritize everything. That's my thought. I mean, we can't really commit right now, in my opinion, because we don't know how much we're gonna spend on salaries and incentives for our employees and a lot of other things. So I think it's gotta go through that process of prioritization, I think.
I agree with both Bill Ham and Bill Githens. As I explained to you, Brian, on the phone, we're getting into budget season. And the second thing that we have to face here coming up in budget season is employee retention. And I just don't see that we're in a position at this time to do anything. So I'd invite you to come back at a later date.
Okay. We appreciate your time though and consideration.
I think we can keep this on our radar screen. I mean.
Yeah, we've got the letter.
We
We've got the letter and we take it to budget with us.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're welcome to come back.
I mean, that-
Oh, I'll come back.
I don't see any reason not to take this to budget, because you've made the ask and we're gonna,
Okay.
and you've given us a timeline, and I think that's fair on all parties, and
There's
you'll hear
certainly-
from us.
Yeah, there certainly is a need. I mean, we see it in our community, we see it in our schools.
And like I told you guys, I sit on the school board over in Bremen. I get it. I get what budget season looks like. So I can totally respect that. So what timeframe would you guys be looking at if you wanted us to come back and reconsider this during your budget cycle? When would you guys want us to be back, or kind of send you a reminder? Because I don't know what that looks like for your guys' schedule.
I don't think I need a reminder, because I got it right here.
Okay.
Me.
Okay,
I mean, that's me.
It's on our
No.
radar.
okay.
It's on our radar.
All right. Approved.
All right.
But thanks.
All right, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is ordinance 2023-010. Amend the golf cart ordinance. Counselor, you have a comment?
Well, I given you a proposed amendment at the last meeting and, indicated because it came in a little late, certainly something you should look at, work through. Indicated that the police chief and I were necessarily on the same page on this thing. And I'm not sure we still are. So I guess the question is, I don't know how you want to work through this. I know there was talk of a possible work session, and maybe that's something you may want to consider. If you know what you want to do and either live with, change, whatever, whatever you want to do with it. I do think it needs to be amended to some degree to address a remedy that Marshall ran into and did not have probably an adequate remedy under the existing golf cart ordinance.
Okay.
And this would be a step in the right direction, and we can always readdress as we go on to strengthen it even more.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
I look at it that way, going ahead and doing something, and it's in place. And Lou, with what we got now, and if Wayne wants to make more suggestions, he can bring them back, but to put something in place now, like you just said, Jim, to take care of maybe some stopgap right now, why keep kicking the can? Let's just put this in place.
I think, my personal opinion is, and mainly the changes that we're talking about are in section 11 of this document. And basically, you added a clause that says, in addition to the 3 violations, a violation of the state criminal statute can be a subject for revoking privileges. And then at the end, you've added at the discretion of the Culver Police Department. I mean, I'm fine with adding the criminal, violation there, or if we want to have other specifics, if it was a DUI or if there's a bodily injury as a result of this. I'm not sure why it needs to be discretionary. I mean, I think you have the discretion when you write the tickets, and in fact, if you've got a violator, could multi-cite them. I mean, if they've got a kid under age, or they have, somebody riding with them, or no license, or DUI, I mean, you could write them 3 citations, and automatically that would put them in a status of having their privileges revoked. So that's just
Sally?
my thoughts on it.
I guess my only question in reading that, is that following the 3rd one that it can be revoked? Yeah,
What was the
the
question?
way that it reads, is it following the 3rd violation?
Following the 3rd citation.
Yeah.
The way this reads, the registration shall be revoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for how long a period, that was kind of my intention for to leave it up to the discretion of the town marshal for up to 1 year.
Yeah.
And then the criminal business had to do with, a violation, like you say, a DUI, where
Right.
you're looking to maybe instead of have that just be one of the 3, or, that count, that one would maybe require revocation
Right,
as just
right.
one violation rather than 4.
I'm pretty much in favor of it as it stands. As long as it, after the 3rd violation, I think something more drastic than a fine needs to be done. And I think the other part, allowing the chief to revoke in the case of a criminal offense, I say that's fine with me.
The way it's worded is, it says, it goes through the 3 times or a violation involves conduct that would constitute a crime under the laws of the state of Indiana.
Right.
The registration shall be revoked for that individual and or golf cart, and that individual or golf cart shall no longer be allowed to operate in the limits of the town of Culver under this ordinance. And then what's added at the end of that is at the discretion of the Culver Police Department for a period of 1 year. I mean, it's not the intent of it, but it does say that the Culver Police Department can decide not to revoke it for those 3 violations.
Yeah.
And I guess my suggestion, I don't know if we find this is a work session or here, but is just to drop out that discretionary half dozen words or whatever.
Bill?
So it's revoked, and they have the right to appeal and come to the council to appeal if they so choose, or court.
Bill?
Is this directed at the driver or the owner?
I have that question too.
Is that-
Says revoked for that individual, meaning whoever the person was did the violation,
Okay,
and or golf cart.
so it could
Meaning,
be
I suppose it could be,
his father's golf
Oh.
cart,
yeah,
he drives it,
could be both.
got it. So that cart's out of commission here, Culver,
Could be.
has a serial number or whatever, yeah, okay.
We get a lot of that where people borrow people's boat.
Right.
Be wary who you loan them
Yeah,
to.
yeah, you don't think twice.
I think the owner of the car should have some discussion with this. Maybe no different than arrested somebody for WI, but borrow a golf cart. Get the time from the same guy, I mean. First One owns a cart on the seventh, kind of.
Council, what's your thoughts on a work session? Rich?
I'm fine with the work session. It's probably a better forum to work it out than trying to work it out here.
Bill, what's your thoughts, sir?
I think we go with this and then I don't want to do a work session at this time.
Sally?
I think as it's written, it would be, fine to adopt, and then if we want to delve further into it, then we could have a work session at a later date. But I think, with summer in full bloom, it's a good,
Get something in place.
yeah,
in other
we
words.
need to change that portion of the ordinance.
I agree with Sally, and Phil. I'm good with it right now. And just go with it, and then let's adjust accordingly if we need to.
Since that ordinance involves a fine, it needs to be advertised correct, so then it wouldn't be enforced until X amount of days after that, so it's not like if you pass it tonight, it's gonna go into effect tomorrow. It has to be advertised. And then a certain period of time afterwards, so just to keep that in mind.
Good point.
May I have a motion then to
I'll make a motion to approve.
approve the ordinance 2023-001?
I'll second.
You can read it by title, bro.
Ordinance amending and restating ordinance 2021-008, 2021-006, 2018-017, and 2007-009, regulating the use of golf carts within the corporate limits of the town of Culver.
And basically, it's the same ordinance that was in place except for section 11 that we've been discussing.
All those in favor, or do I have a second?
Yeah.
Okay,
Build it.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay,
Passed it on first read and take it up with the.
Karen, our council appointment to the Culver Redevelopment Commission, and we had,
There were three applications. One of them was from out of town. The resident lives outside of the town limits.
It's John?
Yeah.
I thought so.
okay,
Yeah, so, we had Bill Gibbons and Vinnie Monroe.
all right. I'd take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jenny Monroe to the Redevelopment Commission. I think she's probably knows as much about the Redevelopment Commission as anyone in this town or more.
It's been moved by Sally to appoint Jenny Monroe. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
It's been seconded by Rich West. Any discussion?
I have a point of procedure.
Yes.
If I want to nominate a second person, can I do that now, or do I have to wait after the vote? Because that way it gives you an open book of choices.
Counselor? Help.
Solomon type of.
Well, yeah, I don't know. You made the motion for the one. Normally, I'm not sure. I have to read Robert's rules of order again. I don't know.
I think you have to follow that,
Oftentimes,
I think you have to follow that one through.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think you have to follow that one through, but
I'm not an attorney.
So,
in your discussion, why don't you bring it up who you're suggesting?
okay, and
That might have some
I'm
bearing.
suggesting Bill Gibbons.
And I would second Bill's appointment.
All those in favor of Jenny Monroe signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Okay,
Nay.
Rich, did you vote?
Yes, I said aye.
Not for Ginny.
Okay. Looks like Jenny gets the appointment. Department head report, EMS. Fire, Terry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, to the community, it was a good fireworks season. We didn't have to, do anything amazing or burn down a house or anything crazy like that. It actually went pretty well. It was the middle of the week, but I'll take it. Lake Fest coming up, you know, it's always busy for EMS and us. It's a hectic time, so you have to hear us coming, as you probably have been hearing us. Also, I've been talking with Karen about radios. Last year, I know we had money set aside for it. I pushed it off a year. I think it's probably within a month's time, we're gonna end up going ahead and pushing that through. We're gonna have to do something. Our radios are we're just getting down to the point where they're not working as well as they were last year.
How are the costs on the radios? Have they changed any?
The last time we looked, I think they were 5,700.
So that's where they were a year ago, or that would be done?
That was probably no, it's been since, I think it was, we looked into it a while back, I think it was
Okay.
that price. That was probably 3 months ago, I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay.
So, of course, they didn't go down, I know that,
Well,
but,
like I say, we're getting in the budget and we just need, you know, we don't need to be guessing. We need to know exactly what it's gonna cost, because these are all line items for you.
The other,
No, we encumbered that. Was it budgeted last year? We encumbered it or did we carry it over this year?
No, we
There-
would have to do an additional appropriation, but the money
Okay.
is there.
Okay,
So, and this would be a this year purchase.
Terry, you
What?
need
This would
to,
be a this year purchase.
Yeah.
okay.
you need to
Thank you.
contact people that you were ordering them from and speak with them, because there's a lot of that equipment that has 6 months to 18 months.
yeah, I know we're not
Before
gonna
you
get
get
them, we're not gonna get them, you know, the next day, I'm sure of
Right.
that. I don't think that the radios are that far out there, but we will be checking as soon as we get a price. There's no way to do it, like call them up, lock in the price, tell me we're getting, that's, bam, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You call 2 weeks later, that price may not be there.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't kept up with it. I know we did it, I think it was 3 months ago, and county out of ballpark at it, and it was just no sense of following like the stock market does. It goes the other way.
Anything else,
That's all I
Terry?
have.
Okay, thank you. Wayne?
Get ready for Lake Fest.
Thank you.
I got a question for Wayne, if you don't mind.
Sure.
The Spider-Man, statue was stolen from CYC's, in front of the, elementary school. And I understand that it was caught on camera by the school. And I also understand that it was maybe a black truck, but could have been a Ram, might not, but the picture of the individual was not clear and couldn't get a license plate off of it. But I understand a police report was filed, and I'm just wondering the status of the police report, and have you recovered it yet?
Working to find it.
Pardon?
We're working to find it. We know all about it. We already have the video and everything.
Okay.
We've been planning.
Okay. Because I know that they'd like it back, obviously.
We want to find it too.
I understand. Thank you.
And
Well,
Thank you for reporting that.
Amber?
We do have the adaptive water ski clinic tomorrow. And Thursday, which does require us to close down the courtesy pier for the special event permit. So we've been advertising that. Other than that, sub pump pit is currently being installed. A lot of work going on there. As soon as they're done, we'll get that new base plate in. Fortunately, the lighthouse work isn't gonna get as done as quickly as I'd hoped. Probably won't be until late August, early September, but everyone's pretty booked out right now, so. But yeah, that's the status of those projects.
Anything else?
That's all.
Utilities, and Bob is not on the line, but Karen, you have that information?
Correct. Bob isn't able to get on. He has a couple of items for you. First of all, the executive storage units, he was able to get a meter count for those. And he would like permission to order 35, wait, I'm sorry. He would like to order, I believe it's 25 meters, but he wants to get those ordered now because there's about a 35-week lead time. The total would be $7,162.25, and it would be a water sewer split.
I have a motion to approve the meter purchase of, this is $7,162.25.
So move.
It's been moved by Mr. Githens, a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved.
The second item, occasionally Bob will come and ask for approval to purchase sludge dewatering bags at the wastewater plant, and they go through those periodically. He needs to ask them to purchase 12 bags, and the cost of that plus freight is $7,880, and that would be out of sewer.
Of the sewer bag
Water bag.
or water bags.
So,
Been moved by Mr. West and seconded by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Approved.
And the third thing he has is, just to give you a heads up, he did receive one invoice so far for the sewer issue that we had on College Avenue a couple weeks ago. And he has an invoice from Zahner Excavating for $10,250. He's waiting on an invoice from JD Excavating for the bypass pump that was used, but it came in, Zahner's came in lower than he was expecting.
Good.
should we approve Zaner's and then wait on the,
You can approve it tonight and then I'll put it with claims next time, or you can just approve it next meeting with claims.
okay,
Yeah, let's just do it with. like-
yeah.
Yeah,
just
do
wait.
claims next time.
That's all he had.
Karen, your report, please.
I do not have any claims over $2,500 for your approval. I did want to call your attention that it is, as you've mentioned several times tonight already, it is budget season. Which is partly why you don't have minutes. I focused on getting June reconciled first because there's a lot of dominoes that fall once that's happened. So I have meetings scheduled with the department heads next week to review their budgets. And I'm waiting on state estimates for income. And hopefully those will come out in the next couple of weeks. I do know that the state maximum or the
Growth quotient.
growth quotient, thank you, is halted at 4%. Thanks to legislation that was passed to provide relief to property owners. And that's held at that rate, I think, for the next 2 years at least. So, the second thing I had was I provided information to you at the last meeting, or before the last meeting, on the water and sewer rates. And is that something that you would like to tackle? And maybe it's a work session, if so, when?
I think that's something that we need to tackle, whether we want to or not. I don't know what's a good time for everybody to meet, but that could be a lengthy discussion. And you had talked about having Baker Tilly come.
You can see if Jeff is available
Yeah.
to either come down or we can have him on.
Zoom in,
We
yeah.
can zoom him in.
Yeah.
So,
We don't have anything in particular for the next meeting, do we?
prior to the next meeting, I don't think so.
Okay. Would 4 o'clock be enough time, Karen?
On the 25th.
I will, let me see if Jeff's available.
Okay.
Yeah, and
And then, next thing I have, I've been telling you for a couple of weeks now that I've been looking at new software. We've kind of been put into a corner with our utility billing software. It was purchased by another company. They are trying to lure us to their software. They're no longer supporting the program that we've used. And so that kind of set me off on looking for something else on top of the fact that the accounting software that I use is from 2005. So it's probably time to be updated. At some point, I may turn on the computer and log in and it might not be working any longer. So I did look at 3 different companies. One was G-Works, and that was the company that bought out the utility billing software that we have. They had, honestly, each of the software systems, I mean, they had great services, great products and everything. Basically, it came down to G-Works, Fry, and then Amston, which is what we currently use for the accounting portion, but they have upgraded their system to a web-based. And when I looked at the cost for all of it, and also the ease of transfer, I kind of landed back on Amston. So I don't know if you all would like to make a decision tonight. If you don't, it's fine. I pushed it off for a couple of weeks now anyway, dealing with other things. But I had provided you at one point the costs of each of them. I think it was in my report. And I showed the initial costs, which are fairly sizable, and then the annual. So if you want to put it off another week,
Well,
it's not gonna make any difference, honestly.
I mean, I'm comfortable moving forward, following your recommendation. It's both the one that is, it appears to be the least cost. And if you're saying that that's the tool that you think will work best for you.
I think overall it would end up, the transfer is gonna be fairly simple. There's not a huge learning curve into learning a completely new system, but we'll have some work to do with the utility billing. And it is something that I can push off. I would like to do the utility billing sooner than later, just because I don't know when they're gonna stop supporting the current system. But I can put off the accounting portion until the first of the year and put off billing, then billing us for that, and then we can budget for the accounting portion.
That would making the decision tonight help you at all in terms of taking it off your plate or putting it on there.
Really,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been on my plate and it hasn't moved, so. If you all need a little bit more time to look or you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. You're kind of.
Well, I'm not gonna steal, Rich's thunder here, but I'll make the motion that we go ahead and accept Amston.
And I'll second the bills. Motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. West. We go ahead and approve the Amston software. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approved.
Remind everyone that we're in the process of taking public input for the council plan. We've had 2 sessions yesterday at the school, at the admin building, and had a decent turnout. And then we have another input session going on for another 16 minutes at the public library. And when I left, there was about 5 people in there, which is about a good crowd. So for the process that they have to go to. We will be at the farmers market on July 22nd and July 29th again, 9 to 11, to do the same exercise there and hopefully get a different crowd. And then when I have a chance, the next day, I will get an online survey up on the website and push that out on Come Down Lake so people can participate that way. And then the final thing I just wanted to ask about, I know we talked about employee retention, and with budget season coming up, I was hoping that maybe there's some an update that you wanted to provide, or if you just want to say you're working on it. I just wanted to.
Yeah, we've had one meeting with one department head. And we have another one this Thursday, and I think the other 3 we ought to do next week. To get them done.
budgets and everything. So, Amber and Terry, you're gonna be getting a call from one of us. We got EMS to do with fire and park.
And that's all I have.
Here, I need to go back and ask a question. Did we approve claims over $2,500?
There were no claims to approve over 20.
Okay,
Additional.
okay,
than the normal person.
all right, thank you. Attorney's report. Counselor?
Okay, yeah, thank you. Got four things. I sent you a note earlier today and attached your proposal for amendment to the zoning ordinance. At the last meeting, you exercised the authority to propose the zoning ordinance amendment as it relates to solar energy systems, and then also as to utility scale battery systems, and also as it relates to moratorium. And you did that kind of in a general fashion, and that's not a problem. Since then, I think you met with Jeanette and have come up with a little bit more specifics as it relates to the development standards for solar regulations, and the same for development standards for utility scale battery and energy storage systems. And because they're a little more specific, just sort of to kind of cover bases, so to speak, I would suggest that you ratify that proposal that has been sent. It's going to be referred to the Plan Commission for their review on July 18th. So.
All right. Do I have a motion to ratify?
So moved. When did you send this out?
It's been moved by Mr. Githens.
Sorry. Have you seen the written amendment?
Well, yeah, I just saw it now.
Mr. Githens made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Not having had a chance to read it. The opportunity to review it.
I see it was sent out at 11:44 a.m. actually, so sorry about that, but still not much notice.
All right. Goes to the Plan Commission.
Three other things kind of for your information. First, as to the Culver neighbors for reasonable development versus Culver, the equity situation. I forwarded you an email last week and attached a motion to correct errors that was filed by Attorney Sherman on behalf of the plaintiff, and even suggested I was we were expecting Judge Bowers to deny the motion. And then this morning, actually on Friday late, the judge did exactly that, denied the motion to correct errors. He left in there a bit about possibly an oral argument concerning his request for injunctive relief. I'm not sure where he's going to go with that, but if you read the judge's order on the motion to correct errors, he's sort of suggesting, that maybe they want to reconsider that possibility. So we'll see what he does with that. As to the Dunes housing project, we are still waiting on information from the developer, I think, so that we can circulate that to the council and to the Redevelopment Commission, sort of to fine tune our position concerning the incentives that we're going to provide for that project. So when I get that information, I'll try to circulate that as well. And then finally, I reported at the last meeting that I thought we were pretty close on completing the transcript on the challenges related to the 415 loft project. And we are, however, in going through records from Jenny that I didn't have all the benefit of seeing. It appears that there were some written documents that needed to be added, and I'm meeting with the attorneys Thursday morning to fine tune. We have transcripts for both the BZA this hearing and decision, as well as the Plan Commission. So we are kind of doubling up on the transcripts and the preparation. We have the timeline for argument and so forth to the judge has not changed. So we'll try to get that wrapped up this week and move on to the next step. And with that, Mr. President, that's all I have.
I have one question, on the neighbor's, suit. Where are we in the position? Are we in a position now that we can ask for attorney's fees?
It was part of the counterclaim, and that's still sort of pending.
Okay.
And as you can tell from the order of Judge Bowers on the motion to correct errors, suggesting he would entertain a motion concerning court costs. There was a follow through on the request for a hearing on the injunction matter. So we're kind of waiting to see if there's a request for that oral argument. And then if there is, I think our plan would be to certainly file that motion that the judge has suggested filing. If there is not one and he just goes with an appeal, then I think we're gonna kind of decide where we are with the others. But yeah, we're not sure where plaintiff may go next, I guess, which kind of keeps us a little bit in limbo as to what we think might be the best way of following through with that.
Okay, thank you. Utility shut off an ordinance violation. Anyone online? Hearing none, anyone in the room? Hearing none, citizen input. Anyone online? In the room? Yes, sir.
Mike Stallings, 506 East Lake Shore Drive. I'd like to address the golf cart ordinance just for a second. We sit on our front porch, which is on Lake Shore Drive, as some of you know. And if I were writing tickets, I'd be a rich man. The people are violating the ordinance like crazy. And I don't know whether that's stupidity or whether it's ignorance, but it's happening. And I know that the officers are doing their job. My 37-inch tall great grandson had to be measured the other day, and the officer had a rule in his car. He's 1 inch over the limit, so they're doing their job. But all that said, I've sat here for years and listened to you all being criticized because there's no transparency. You don't get this information out. They didn't call me, even though you do. I mean, the bike trail is one thing. I remember going to meetings on that. But you can have meetings and no one comes. So, and I think you might be dealing with the same issue on this. So my suggestion would be that you might want to consider having Karen put something together that, kill them with information. The sign, the 2 electric signs, you could put golf cart owner review your ordinance, or just put it all over the place, get it out maybe with water bills. I don't know how she can get things out. And I know she's busier than the bee. So, but if you did this, at least when somebody does something wrong and violates the ordinance, and then certain people in this town will come and say, we never know anything. They don't inform us, and it goes on and on and on. You can say, well, this went out, that went out, the other thing went out. I'd say cover your own tracks.
Wayne?
Well, I could add to Mike's comment there. People are willing. Clerk's office explains the rules to them, gives them a copy of it. It's online. An example, I had a golf cart stop the other day. Grandfather let the grandkid use the golf cart. First thing out of their mouth, well, I didn't read the rules. That's the most common thing that we hear. I think we can paste it on them, the people themselves, and they still wouldn't read the rules. They're only worried about one thing, I want that tag and I want to go drive my golf cart. That's all they're concerned about.
You could probably read it to them and they wouldn't listen while you were reading.
Maybe we should start an educational class for violators. They have to attend. So, yeah, education.
I don't know what it takes. I mean,
Yeah.
I empathize with Mike. I mean, we
Yeah.
do a lot, and that's the biggest thing we hear is ask it. The paper that's given to you. So I just. I agree with Wayne. I don't think, I'm not suggesting that we don't get information out because we get it. Do people read that ordinance when they get their training course? But when I hear, this word of mouth and talking to people is those 5 people up there sit there and they,
DMV.
once this meeting's over with, they don't get the word out. That it's a bunch of baloney, believe me, it's a bunch of baloney. But I'm talking about, covering your tracks. And
Yeah.
The more information you get out on this thing, at least for a year or so, with the ordinance changing, less.
Yes, sir.
Jim Hahn, 451 Lakeview Street. I just want to add to what Wayne and Mike are talking about. People consider the golf cart a toy. That's what they're doing. They think it's a little kitty car that they get to run on the streets in town. I don't know what you have to do to them. I don't beat them, whip them, what, I don't know what, but something has to happen because somebody's gonna get hurt. They're carrying flammable goods on these things. They're not tied down. It's a mess. And all they think of it is as a toy, just like Wayne said. The kids get on it. Grandpa said I could run around on it. It's shameful. I don't know what you do. I've said enough. Thank you.
Anyone else has an input? Yes, Terry.
I got one thing to go back, excuse me, to the radio thing. I looked back to see when it was. It was March 29th with $92,000. So as of the next meeting, I'll have an updated quote and availability on the list.
Thanks.
That.
Thanks, Terry.
Okay. Council issues.
No, you're
Oh,
gonna check. I got Carrie in the back.
Yes.
Carrie Chesley, 520 South Corner. Just had a comment on area near Davis Street. About a year or two ago, it was, we have a parking issue. It was painted for yellow, no parking zone. That paint is not lasting. Just that there are residents concerned that paint's being ignored because it's not visible. Is it possible to get that repainted in that area? And then also lawn mowing. I don't know if letters have gone out, but there's several violations of seriously long grass. Botabano and Obispo area, Akron.
Can I respond?
Yes, ma'am.
So we hired the last summer we didn't have any extra help in the street department, so a lot of that paint is done. This summer we've got somebody, I think you've noted, hopefully you've noticed that the wayfinding signs are being repainted through town. So he's working on that. I think Bob's gonna have him do some other painting. So he has an extra person. We only have 5 people for the utility department. They're spread thin. On the grass ordinances, I will, I've sent out 1 round of grass letters and then I will, find out the next round.
Okay.
It's not gone unnoticed. It's just,
Thank you.
you know, we're trying.
One thing I might add, I talked to Bob sometime back and that yellow paint is a particular paint. And it has to meet certain standards and so forth, and it's a backlog for that paint. I think what they did is they went out and just bought ordinary yellow paint. But you notice that the real paint is for traffic and so forth is in short demand. So I haven't checked with Bob.
He's the-
Pardon?
Bob just got online.
I just received 15 gallons of it, so you'll see yellow paint in the next few weeks.
Good news.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council issues, Rich?
No, I don't have anything. I do echo Mike's comments on the golf course. I think it's, we've got over 600 of them now. And it's, people are just completely irresponsible with letting kids drive them, and as Jim said, people take them as a toy and they're not. Fortunately, just something is going to happen. So.
Bill?
Nothing.
Kelly?
I didn't injure him, but I ran into an old neighbor of mine, and they were saying that we needed to do something on South Plymouth Street behind my old house and going toward Mill Street, that section where there's curb on the one side. Because like over the 4th and a couple of other big weekends, they had it parked on both sides to where you could just barely squeeze a car through. And if you could barely squeeze a car through, then there's no way you could squeeze an ambulance or a fire truck through. So I think,
Sally, you guys addressed that last year when you revised the parking ordinance. Now all that will be painted yellow as well.
okay. All right, thank you.
I have nothing, Bill.
I just want to remind Jeff and Amber and Harriet that we'll be probably wanting to meet early in the week. So that we can give Karen some guidance, or you can give her some guidance on what our results were at the recommendation. So if you want to just give me some times and days, that's fine. What's that? Sure, that's fine. And that way we could get it going.
Should I send it to both you and Rich, or just you?
Yes, both of us, please. Thank you.
Hearing nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Githens, seconded by Mr. West. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.